I always thought birthdays were meant to be predictable. Cake, a few gifts, dinner at a fancy place maybe, and some heartfelt messages from loved ones. That's how it had always been. But this year, my husband Ethan promised something different. He told me weeks in advance to leave my birthday completely in his hands. No peeking, no questions, he had said with that mischievous smile of his. At first, I was intrigued, excited even. We had been married for 6 years, and he was never the overly romantic type. But now he was practically bouncing with enthusiasm. It was cute, really. I had no idea what was coming. As my birthday approached, I noticed Ethan acting strangely. He was always on his phone, whispering or stepping outside to talk in private. He started coming home later than usual and claimed he was working overtime or running errands. I wanted to believe him. I did. But something about his behavior made me uneasy. I started wondering if maybe he forgot about my birthday entirely and was scrambling last minute to fix it. Or worse, if something was going on that had nothing to do with my birthday at all. The day before my birthday, Ethan came home with a blindfold and handed it to me like it was a diamond ring. "Tomorrow," he said, "you'll wear this. I'll take care of everything. Trust me." His voice was gentle, but there was an edge to it I couldn't read. Still, I smiled and nodded, brushing off the doubts in my mind. I wanted to believe in the magic of the surprise he was promising. The next morning, he woke me up early, around 7 a.m., "Time to get ready," he whispered, kissing my forehead. "Put on something comfortable, but cute." I laughed and asked him if it was a hike or a picnic, but he only grinned. "No hints," he said again. I dressed in a flowy sundress and tied my hair up. I applied light makeup, all while my heart beat just a little faster from anticipation. When I came downstairs, he tied the blindfold over my eyes. "No peeking," he repeated like a mantra. "You're going to love this." Then he guided me outside, helped me into the car, and drove. I couldn't see anything, but I tried to trace his turns in my head, count the minutes, listen to the sounds outside. We drove for maybe 25 minutes before we stopped. He led me by the hand into a building. The floor was smooth and cool beneath my sandals, and there was a faint echo in the space, like it was large or mostly empty. Then finally he said, "Okay, ready?" He untied the blindfold. I opened my eyes to see a warehouse. Yes, a warehouse, decorated with balloons, streamers, and even a red carpet. There was a DJ in the corner, lights strung across the beams above, and a buffet table lined with food. A few of our friends were already there, clapping and cheering. "Happy birthday, Madison," they shouted. At first, I was stunned, in a good way. It was extravagant, and I could see he'd gone out of his way to make it special. I turned to him, smiling wide. "You did all this?" He nodded proudly. "Me and the guys. We started planning a month ago." I hugged him, my earlier doubts melting away. Maybe I was just being paranoid. Maybe he really was just trying to surprise me. The party went on for a couple of hours. More people showed up, our neighbors, his co-workers, even a few of my old college friends I hadn't seen in years. I felt touched, and it seemed like Ethan had remembered everyone who mattered to me. He stayed close to me most of the time, making sure I had everything I needed. But every once in a while, he'd disappear with his friends, Bryce, Tyler, and Marcus, into a small side room. Each time he came back, he seemed a little more nervous. I tried not to read into it, but it was starting to nag at me. I walked over to the bar area to get a drink when I overheard a conversation between two women I didn't recognize. "Did you hear what they were planning to do?" one of them said. "I can't believe they even considered it." The other replied, "I know. It's kind of cruel, honestly. On her birthday, no less." Their words made my stomach twist. I wanted to ask what they were talking about, but I didn't even know who they were. I told myself I was just overthinking again, but I couldn't shake the feeling. Something was off. I walked around the venue, looking for Ethan. I finally found him and his friends huddled around a phone in that side room. The door was cracked open just enough for me to peek in. Are you sure she hasn't figured it out? Marcus was asking. Because if she does, it's over. Ethan sighed. I'm doing this for a reason. I need to know if she's been honest with me. Bryce chimed in. Then why wait until her birthday? Couldn't you have picked any other day? Ethan ran a hand through his hair. Because she won't expect it. That's the point. I felt like the air had been knocked out of my lungs. I stepped away quickly and tried to look normal, like I hadn't just heard that. I was shaking inside. What did he mean? What didn't he trust me about? About 20 minutes later, Ethan called for everyone's attention. All right, everyone. It's time for the real surprise, he said. I froze. My heart pounded in my ears. He gestured for me to join him at the front of the room. Everyone was cheering and clapping, and I walked up slowly, forcing a smile. Madison, he said, holding a small box in his hand. You've been the love of my life. But today, I need to ask you something. Something that will prove what we have is real. The room went quiet. Everyone watched us like we were characters in a play. He opened the box. Inside was a simple USB flash drive. This, he said, has footage of something that happened 2 weeks ago. Something I need to show you. I stood frozen. He plugged the USB into a projector behind us. A video started playing. It was footage from our home security camera. It showed me in our living room with a man, a friend from work named Darren. We were talking, laughing, and yes, he did lean in once, but I pulled away. It wasn't what it looked like. I remembered that day clearly. Darren had just been dumped by his girlfriend and came over to vent. Ethan had been out of town. I offered him coffee and a kind ear. That's all it was. But now, played out in front of everyone like some courtroom drama, it looked damning. Ethan paused the video. You told me Darren had never been to our house, he said quietly. I didn't want to upset you, I said, my voice trembling. You don't like him, and I knew you'd overreact. But nothing happened. I swear. The room was dead silent. Then Ethan looked at me, his face unreadable. You're right, he said. Nothing did happen. I watched the entire footage. I just wanted to see if you'd lie. My face burned. You embarrassed me in front of everyone. Just to test me? He nodded. I had to be sure. The crowd was still. Some people looked uncomfortable. Others looked away. I stared at Ethan, unable to believe what was happening. That's not love, I whispered. That's control. I turned and walked out of the warehouse. He didn't follow me. That night, I stayed at a friend's house. I cried for hours. The humiliation, the betrayal, not just of trust, but of dignity. The man I married didn't believe in me enough to talk to me like a partner. Instead, he made a public spectacle of my integrity. Over the next few weeks, I distanced myself from him. He tried to apologize, said he was sorry for hurting me, that he panicked because he'd been cheated on before in past relationships. But I realized something important. I wasn't his past.